Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now the Battleground season has officially started and I have been doing my climb up the victory track with fairly good results, some losses here and there, but at the end, at the moment, if you're already pushing Vibranium tiers, you effectively are playing against the top players in the world because they're doing the same on day 1 and 2. Like Max, for instance, he's typically high C5, C4 type of player. So there we are starting to get some mixed results, but for most part it has been quite good and nice, and I'm fairly satisfied with my deck. Obviously I will be changing possibly some things along the way, but I did want to share how it is going so far and which champions seem to be doing the best, managing the unstoppable, completely ignoring it, or just happen to have a playstyle that kind of avoids it, and the ones that I have benefited from the most. So in science class, I'm currently running Silk, Titania, Photon, and Spider-Ham. Now, all of them actually have been quite good. Obviously, Photon is still a top class defender, but the cool thing with Photon is that obviously you can still use her offensively. Same with Titania, she doesn't really rely on parry stance or them sticking too much. And the one surprise that has worked for me so far is Silk, because with Silk, even though she does her regular stuns on her heavy, that just kind of means you do not really want to stun opponent until you are ready to go for that big level 2 nuke, or if the level 2 rotation doesn't work out, you can always go for level 3 and go for that passive stun instead. So she still does the Enchantress is fine and a handful of other matchups. She's not necessarily the MVP, but I just wanted to let you know that she still works. Just be very, very careful with your heavy attacks and do not use them, just because. Just do the regular 5-6 hit combos that still has, and then when you are ready to go off, go for the one stun into relic and stun, and it will be enough. And Piggy is just fine, I'd say fairly average so far, but it's very good to have because there are many mystic threats. Now for the skill class actually, with the exception of Bullseye, kind of doing a bit more poorly because we are seeing a lot more Negasonic Teenage Warheads, which completely ignore the Limber and are quite popular. And also Dazzlers are making more and more of an appearance, so Tuma is fairly inconsistent because now we have Dazzler, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Onslaught who can deal with him, similar to Korg. On top of all the aforementioned champions, there's still Juggernaut and a handful of others that can absolutely nuke him. So I'm not really drafting them too much, but they are good to have if you grab them late draft. You can still manage trapping people with a Tuma. And then Crossbones are then primarily for Photons if I didn't ban them, but I do typically end up banning Photons because, as we can see, I do not pack in that many Photon counters. And then there's Kate. Kate still works kind of fine. She's a bit finicky to use, but her passive stun is not subject to Limber. Your main concern is managing the Unstoppable, and that is not the easiest job in this meta. I haven't been using her too much. She is potentially on the chopping block as well. Now moving on to the Mutants. Sinister is kind of the one champion I have been drafting less than just about all the seasons previously, because obviously his offensive playstyle is significantly limited, but he still presents, a defensive capability, so that is great. Onslaught, you do need to alter the way you play him as well. You need to, stun less effectively and rely on your parry stun. Negasonic is doing just fine, and Domino is actually very, very great this meta because there's nothing really inhibiting her from being great offensively, and not too many tech champions are doing well in this meta, so that helps. Cosmic at the moment is just the 3 main Cosmics that I do have. So we do have Serpent, great. I actually will show you some of my match history, hence I have been using Serpent on attack more and more recently because opponents seem to have counters, but he's quite capable on attack. Then we have Thanos, a very solid 2-way champion, and Medusa, primarily an attacker, pretty serviceable. And then I am running Shuri, still does her job fine, can be placed on defense as well. Then we have Red Skull, still mainly domino counter. I would say my absolute most MVP at the moment is Starhand Spider-Man. He's an absolute beast. Use him against Bullseyes and Photons and a ton of different champions. He does just amazingly well. One of my favorite go-to attackers for the meta for sure. Jack's doing alright. I wouldn't say too great at the moment. Would be better if mine was awakened and I could reliably bring him in against Onslaughts and Dominos, but as he is still fairly solid. Shocker is a very good pick. He's quite finicky in this meta on defense, and he also works perfectly fine offensively. And then, by far the largest loss, it's the Mystics, right? So Juggernaut is an absolute beast in this meta because he does have access to stagger that can enable you to be completely aggressive. So he can close out fights within like 30-40 seconds. Then Werewolf by Night is doing very, very solid job for me too because of his playstyle. You can typically quite easily manage, to deal with the Unstoppable. He doesn't rely on parries at all, and if you hit opponent's block, it's basically the same thing, more or less, that's happening. And yeah, he's been doing great. Ebony Maw has been kind of like a clutch champ for me. He's been good offensively and has gotten me some dubs on defense as well. Shatra mainly gets banned, but she does fine. She's primarily an attacker, and Enchantress is an absolute menace. Kushala still does fine, but it is much harder to play her because you can't really parry heavy much aside from your opening play, so you do need to be quite careful. She still does Serpents quite well though, so that at the moment is my deck here. And then delving into my match history, I'll show you guys some interesting matchups here. Again, here I did kind of screw up against Enchantress. Max had a better fight, fair enough. And then there was a Red Skull fight, and unfortunately, he kind of outrouted me in that one. This one was quite funny though. I played quite poorly against Arcade with Jugs, but it was good enough. And round 2 did make me quite happy because Serpent did a fight in 52 seconds. Nice. His true focus, completely shutting down Shocker. So it's quite neat. There I got wrecked a bit. But here again, I used Serpent offensively because my opponent had a ton of Mystics. And he did a rank 3 bullseye in 80 seconds with 92% health. It's not the fastest, but it's far from the worst. And again, the reason why you are able to do this as well is because with Serpent, you can push bullseye at level 2s. And yeah, you can prevent him from evading, which is a massive help. And then, Juggy wasn't the greatest fight. You can do this fight in about 60 some seconds. I messed up a bit, but still well enough. Okay, fine, I'll show you where I got ass kicked. So here, it was fairly close, but it was kind of meant to be a throw round. And here I just did not expect him to place null on defense, and I screwed up a bit with Starkey. I could have definitely won that. So yeah, here was the match against Melania, against Goku, very skilled player as well with a smaller deck. Somehow won this one. You can definitely do this fight a lot better with Starkey. I just messed up a bit. Here I lost convincingly, but Medusa took care of business in round 3. And I think there's another Serpent offensive fight here. Juggy did his thing. Starhand Spider-Man, as it turns out, is a very, very good Thanos counter even in this meta. And that has been one of my favorite findings recently. Because you can kind of naturally build a lot of poise charges easily. Only thing you have to do is navigate the Unstoppables, of course. But yeah, he does quite well there. So, did I show this match already? Nope, messed up there, but still, that was well enough. What was an L here? I played poorly with Kushala, great with Titania, and then I just messed up at the end a bit. I could have done better, but Unstoppable came at the wrong time. Best in the biz. This was a noteworthy win as well. So here, obviously, lost the opening round, but Juggy did Thanos, and then Domino just absolutely wrecked that Atuma. I got a bit lucky in this one, so that's fine. And we have obviously Kushala against Serpent. Fairly good fight, 100% health, 63 seconds. Then I had a bit of a blooper where I lost it, but Ebony Maw putting in work against Nova's. Quite nice to see that as well. And was it OG Highline next? We had a very poor Juggy fight, but another Ebony Maw against Nova. And against Paul Alves, played poorly here. But again, this was very, very close. With Starhand Spider-Man did this very, very well, 100% health finish as well. And then, last round was fair enough. But yeah, so those so far have pretty much been my MVPs, as we can see by the champions used. Shatra did quite well here against Red Skull. Quite like that fight too. And Starhand Spider-Man, 50 seconds against Dust. Could have been faster as well. Who else do we have here? Shatra messed up quite badly, but Starkey against Wong, 43 seconds, not bad. Starkey definitely dominating all over the place. Titania had a fairly poor fight, but good enough. Sometimes those are the victory track moments. And then again, I used Serpent. I messed up a bit, but once I got established, then, you know, the fight was going very, very smoothly. So I now know how to do that fight too. And again, another win with the Serpent offensively. And then we had Titania take a dub against Photon, which is quite satisfying. And I think that is so far the fights that I did this season climbing the victory track. So let me know who have been your personal MVPs. Hope this video helped you. I will show you guys my deck again if you do want to take a screenshot to take some ideas for you. As I said, I will still be making adjustments to it. Some champions that I have been drafting a bit less, or maybe some champions I can replace with higher versions. As I said, you know, Kate might be going out, and not too sure about running rank 2 Rintra. Might just have to take her to rank 3 at some point. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I will catch you guys quite soon. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about